Rising Moons, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Forced Diet Podcast. Wherever, whenever, and however you may be listening, we are honored that you joined us. On today's episode, with the media blackout lifted, we're going to take a first look at the reviews from the Galactic Starcruiser trips. There's actually a lot of good, both print and vlogging media to discuss first looks, the food, and some of the experiences and kind of what there is, how big did Disney go, some of the good, some of the bad, and some of our thoughts. So with that, sit back, relax. This is where the fun begins.
The Force is what gives the Jedi his power.
Why is the Force connecting us?
I am a Jedi.
Always two there are. We're a dyad in the Force.
Welcome to episode 23 of the Forced Diet Podcast. I am your host, Obi-Sean, joined as always.
Jedi-John's here. I didn't know you were going to go with it, and I'm just going to cut it off before you do anything. I can't. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear whatever you're going to quip, whatever quip you're going to give me this week.
And it didn't help that I apparently went through puberty there during the introduction. So
yeah,
pardon me.
The listeners appreciate.
I'm sure they do.
Everything.
Well, how you doing? Since you've cut off my introduction of you, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Yeah. I'm here. It's really important.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, it's been a long week. I don't know why. It feels like it's been a long week.
And the week just started.
Yeah, and we're long already. Actually, I'm like on day 6 in a row of work. Mm-hmm. So it's one of those stretches that I have created myself because I write this stupid schedule, and it just so happened that this is what happened to me.
Well, I'm sure there's a reason that you stacked yourself such a way.
Yeah, not really this week. No, I'm kidding. There was, but yeah. So it just gets a little tiring going into it.
For sure.
So, yeah.
Well, we got some fun stuff to talk about tonight. The, like I said, the media blackout was lifted Friday from the media preview voyages.
Yeah, for the Halcyon.
For the Galactic Starcruiser. There's a host, like if you YouTube.
Oh yeah, you can't miss it.
It's everywhere. So we're going to we're going to look at a couple of, both Disney Food Blog put out an expansive review of the lodging and the food and everything like that, and then
you're kidding. Disney Food Blog.
Yeah, they did the food.
They got the food.
They did the food.
They did the food. Wow.
They did. And then there's a YouTube channel, Ordinary Adventures, that I like to follow for other reviews. They do a pretty good job of other Disney related things, as well as other cruises and stuff like that too. So, and they give a pretty solid, non-biased kind of, or less biased view of certain things. So. And they did a really good 3-part vlog on their experience. So we'll talk a bit about that. But before we do, we have some exciting news. Well, not exciting. Well, it's exciting. We booked all of our stuff for Celebration.
Celebration's booked, ready to go.
We're less than 3 months away now.
Yeah, we've only been waiting for 3 years.
It doesn't feel that long. Is it weird that it doesn't feel like it's been that long?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Because we bought the tickets. I went back and looked.
It was June of 2019.
Correct.
Yeah.
We bought the tickets June of 2019.
And we'll go just before June.
We'll go May of 2022.
Yeah, late May.
Which it's insane. But got the flights booked finally, the hotels, the rental cars. Yeah. Did you book your flights yet?
Yeah.
You did book your flights.
They're getting booked.
Do you know did you decide whether or not you're going?
We're making the trip.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun.
So you're going to go to Orlando afterwards?
Yeah, so my wife, who is a travel agent and a huge Disney nut, has officially decided that one of her bucket list items, I guess you could call it, is to see both castles in the same week.
Is that a new thing?
I don't know.
Has that developed over the last 2 weeks?
I think it was a thing that she realized it was a possibility that she could do it, and then she realized that shoot, other people have done that. That seems really cool. I want to do that. And so after our trip to Anaheim, which I'll have to leave that Sunday, unfortunately, now. I don't get to stay till Monday because we have to fly out Sunday because my tournament starts on Monday. which is why this is possible, is because there's a tournament that starts on Monday
Your volleyball
in Orlando
stuff.
for volleyball. So it's the national tournament. So, yeah, so that's the only reason it's possible, because I have to go play. Well, I don't have to,
You
but
have
I want
to go play?
You know, well, the quote marks can be removed because Olivia had a say in it, so I had to go.
Well, she's
play.
playing too, right?
No.
Oh.
So, well, because originally our teams were filling our spots because the games usually happen over the weekend, which was directly over the celebration. So I'm like, guys, peace out. I'm not coming this year. Sorry, I've got celebration, which, granted, they're both very important things to me, but celebration doesn't happen every year. This happens every year. And my body doesn't hurt after I go to a convention versus playing sports for 3 days. So I'm going to go to the convention.
Then you're not conventioning right. Clearly,
Right.
you've never been to a convention.
Oh, no, yeah. I know. Well, the convention crud afterwards is different.
Yeah, exactly.
Your body doesn't hurt from being sore. Your body just
You're
hurts.
just sick.
So it should be interesting going from Anaheim after 5 days of being there and going to Orlando we got a direct flight somehow, which I don't know if I'm excited for or not, with a 16-month-old.
What is that, a 4.5-hour flight?
Yeah, 4.5 to 5 hours. Yeah, pretty excited about that. Oh,
Yikes.
God, it's gonna be good.
Out of L.A.?
Yeah, out of
of
LAX. Yep. So yeah, it should be a lot of fun. So yeah, we're gonna go. I'm trying to convince her, instead of going to the Magic Kingdom, to go to Hollywood Studios, so I can go to both Star Wars. Go to
Both Galaxy's Edges.
Yeah, go see both at Galaxy's Edges in the same week. Probably not. I'll probably.
Well, just get a park hopper. How many? Are you only going for 1 day?
Yeah, we're only going to Disney for 1 day. So because I play for 3 days, so Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I'll play.
Unless you guys get knocked out early.
No.
which is totally
You still
possible.
play. Yeah. You just get moved up or down brackets depending on how you do the first 2 days.
Gotcha.
So, but yeah, so we're going on Thursday that week after the tournament's over. So
Well, you could totally park hop.
could, but won't. Olivia, like, she loves Magic Kingdom, so we'll stay there.
That's fair.
And we will literally be in Galaxy's Edge a week earlier, so I'm not going to push it. And I've already been to the one in Orlando, so I'm not going to really push to spend more money on Star Wars stuff, since Olivia might be completely done with Star Wars by the time we get there, because I will have been at a Star Wars convention for 4 days straight. So
Well, and then did you decide if you're going to go to Universal the morning that you land?
no, we're not. I hope not. It's just too much.
You're just gluttons for punishment.
I really am not, but
Because it's like an hour north.
I know
of
where
you
it's.
flew.
Oh, I know where it's at. I told her where it was at, because she was talking about, like, well, let's go do that. I'm like, it is an hour drive to go do that.
In LA traffic. So like 5 hours.
Should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it'll be good. So it's fun to get all that stuff booked because, well, it's it's real, and with the way things are going, hopefully with the
It's looking better.
with the
Outlook is bright.
It is much brighter than it was 2 months ago.
It is as bright as Tatooine's two suns.
The bright suns and bright sun. So we've done rising moons,
Yeah.
and we've done bright suns.
We're gonna keep hitting
in
it.
the first 10 minutes. So
We're gonna keep hitting it hard.
it's all the Batu done for you. Yes, I rhymed.
Man, you're crushing it tonight.
So anyways, we'll jump into kind of our main talking points. We're gonna kind of just freewheel this, have a fun discussion.
Yeah.
I figure we'll start with the vlogs, and then we'll kind of sprinkle in the food discussion.
Yeah.
Here and there.
Sounds good to me.
And so my first sort of takeaways from the videos. I mean, there's actually a lot of stuff that looks better than I expected.
Things look good. I mean,
Like that atrium, the atrium
looks
when
phenomenal.
you first walk in, and I saw a picture of it in the Disney food blog post. And on first look, just again from the print or from just the single picture, it actually looked kind of meh. Actually, it felt too clean, too fresh. Now maybe it was probably brightened, like the exposure was probably taken up to show some of the details. It felt almost too clean. I realize it's supposed to be a flashy Star-Cruiser and kind of like the ship on
and it's brand new.
Fifth Element,
Yeah.
right? Well, it isn't, because apparently it's on their 275th anniversary or something like
So
that.
it should be beat up a little bit, is what you're saying.
Oh, I mean, either that or they have some phenomenal
Those mechanics look good.
cleaning droids and the mechanics too. So, but in the video, like actually seeing it, live, it looked a bit more toned down. It wasn't as harsh with the visual. So, but the atrium, I mean, when you first walk in, you walk off the transport, you're boom right in it, and I have to say it was much more impressive than I expected.
Yeah, I do love like how they got those little details right too. Like when you go on a cruise, they always have the model cruise ship, like the model of the cruise ship you're on, and they had the Star-Cruiser model on in there too, and I'm like, that's really good touch. Like, and Disney's always thoughtful about that kind of stuff, but things you don't even think about walking in there, like, oh, they should have a model there. Oh, Disney did it. Don't worry about it.
Well, and when they walk off, when you board a cruise ship, I don't know if you've ever been on a cruise before. So I've been on a couple cruises, Caribbean cruises, and when you do walk on the ship, you are greeted by the
captain.
Well, members of the staff.
Oh yeah.
So when you first board a ship, there are staffers there to welcome you on board. Hey, welcome. And they did the same thing with this. Is they've got in the video they had 3 or 4 cast members with their data pads ready to take you to your room, show you where you're staying, which is a nice touch as well. Again, kind of going back to giving you that feeling that you're on a cruise, even though obviously you're not even leaving land. So, so that again is a nice touch that the concept art doesn't show. It doesn't, you don't get that from photos. So that was really nice. The sort of the mulling about with the characters and stuff like that looked cool, but kind of really chaotic. And they even talk about it in the vlogs. But the one thing I want to key in on first is the Rodian, who is the backup keyboardist or whatever for Gaia. I think it's pronounced Uwani is how her
Uwala?
name. I think there's an end. I think it's an Uwani, but I'm sure I'm butchering that. But the costume
phenomenal
is incredible.
The mouth moves.
The ears
twitch. Like,
the eyes move, and whatever voice box is in there, spits out Rodian, and so just, and they didn't do a whole lot of showing of. I mean, they showed some characters in concept art, I think a couple Twi'leks here and there, but to see that character, again, that we've never met before, but it felt like a movie quality, prop costume.
Yep.
And it looks like, again, from the video, and this is, will the characters actually be as omnipresent as
and accessible
as they are in this particular vlog that I saw, or that we saw? But it seems like the characters, the cruise director, the captain shows up. There were a couple mechanics that were there. I think the lightsaber training, the person who was teaching that on this particular voyage was there. And as of recording this, the actual maiden voyages are tomorrow.
Yeah.
So they're we're on the eve of the first actual paid voyage, which these 2 vloggers are actually on the trip tomorrow. So they did the media one, and then they're actually going on the paid one tomorrow.
Yeah, which is nice. Mm-hmm. I mean, when you think about it, like especially the way that they were describing some of the events that were going to happen on the ship, there's different paths you can take. So your every experience could be different for you, because you could choose to be a Jedi or Resistance or First Order or the Underground or whatever.
Yeah,
so like the smuggler,
like a
type
smuggler.
Round. So it's cool because even during the vlog, like they're like, oh yeah, this time we'll do this, and I'm like, so jealous. Yeah. Like, oh, this time we're gonna go. But yeah, so it's still a very cool concept that similar to a lot of other action role play shows that you might go to for one night or 3 hours or whatever you're doing.
Oh right, yeah, exactly.
You like each show you go to could be different, and they're in one big show for 2 days, and it, from what we saw in the vlog, like it could hit you at any moment where you get contacted by somebody, and it just seemed that kind of aspect of me seems really cool. And also, like, it's just funny because they're like at lunch and they're like, this guy's telling me I gotta go. Like I gotta go here now. I should probably do it now.
Well, and that's something too. We'll talk about that real quick. The immersion, with it being kind of staggered like that, based on maybe whenever you get out your phone, because that's the thing. All of this is done through
the app,
the data pad on your phone. So it's a lot like the My Disney experience when you're in the parks. I mean, you're almost constantly having to look at your phone, which is kind of unfortunate, but nevertheless, the staggering of experiences, I wonder if it's going to force people, because if you're with a party and you each want to do your own thing, you're going to have to basically split apart. Obviously, if you're young kids, you're not going to do that, but presumably if you're with a group of friends, you could all take different paths. You could, in theory, sabotage each other. Like if one chose to go First Order and another chose to go Resistance, you could totally, which for me sounds awesome. Like that does sound really fun.
Like if it was me and you on the ship, I'd be like, yeah, I'm opposite you.
But you wouldn't
trash Resistance.
Well, I wouldn't. After having watched the vlog, I don't know that I would go the good guy route. I almost want to get that poshy, stuck-up English accent, like Captain Pride or whatever, or this lieutenant who's in the vlog, and kind of I don't know, saboteur. So that the experiences are, for me, if I was able to go, is the one thing that I would be most excited about. And again, watching this particular experience with so many people on the ship or in the hotel or whatever, you're going to have so many people doing the exact same thing because there's only so many paths you can take. And presumably there's a handful of like variables where maybe you don't get the exact same task, but there was a point in, I think it was the second video, which you haven't seen, where one of them is following through on the task to do from the data pad, and they're in this area where there are about 12 other people doing the exact same thing. And so I realize that you're not going to be able to give everyone an individualized experience, but the immersion or the play along or the playability, I feel like what happens if somebody gets there and does it before you? And I mean, there are certain times, like it's like, meet us here at this time. If somebody gets there or a group gets there before you and you miss that experience because you're a couple minutes late or whatever, how does that detract from
what's
your
that look
experience?
for? And what's it look like? Mm-hmm. Like, do you still get it after? Or even in some cases, there's a lot of button pushing, obviously, because, I mean, that's how experiences work in some areas, or levers get pulled or whatever else. If you see the person ahead of you do it, like, you're like, oh, okay, I'll pull this too.
It's like peeking over someone's shoulder during a test. You're like, what's the answer?
I didn't study, but there it is. Thank you. Appreciate it.
But the interactions with the cast members, the characters, actually, I mean, at that point, they're not even really cast members.
Seem very authentic, very real. Mm-hmm. Very cool. I mean, I thought, like, especially the captain and then the cruise director felt very, very cool.
They felt real.
Yeah.
Like, again, if you've ever been on a cruise, an actual cruise, you do get the chance to meet the captain at certain points. The cruise director is front and center all the time. They're high energy. They do come down. They do mingle. I remember on the last cruise we went on, which was a long time ago now, but we ended up partying with the cruise director at one of the bars on one of the nights, because they come out because they're there, they're there to work, of course, but they're there to also have fun with the guests because their job is guest enjoyment. And so, again, seeing how, at least in this experience, everybody was kind of commingling. One, it was great to see everyone in one area kind of enjoying that.
Yeah. And actually, like, being normal again.
Yes.
Yeah. It felt good seeing that.
Frankly, for Disney, things couldn't have really kind of timed out better for this opening.
They
for this
paid
launch.
For that. Oh, wait. I'll have to cut that out.
I may have. Cough.
Let me get at that money.
Yeah. Oh, is that Eric from the Galactic Dads does a phenomenal Mickey Mouse
Yeah,
impression.
we'll have to get them on here.
Yes.
Just for that, really. Anyway, but yeah, so like, the timing worked out excellent for the first media voyages plus the maiden voyage.
Right, and
So-
and there was one character, another cast member who is the manager for Gaia, who I swear when he popped up, I thought it was Joe Rody at first, who is a former Imagineer who had the huge earring hoops and famous for. I mean, he's a famous Imagineer, designed Animal Kingdom and many other things, but from like quick glance it looked just like him, and that character is actually heavily involved throughout apparently that first day or that first evening. But yeah, again, something that you don't see in the concept arts is how characters will interact with you, and it does look like that is, at least from this first viewing, maybe they're certainly better than expected. And so I hope that for subsequent voyages that the level of
Interaction,
yes is
entertainment, yeah, absolutely. And I think that was one of my drawbacks from Batu. Like, you see all these things on the initial openings and stuff like that, and obviously 2020 changed a lot. So I felt like we were kind of gypped a little bit because we didn't get to see a whole lot of interactions outside of the I guess you could say scheduled stuff.
Right.
So it just changed it. Still fun, but still just changed it. So hopefully this is a continuous show that they put on, and it's not just for the first couple months.
Right. And one of the biggest blowbacks during the initial kind of marketing campaign was the teaser trailer with Gaia doing the singing and the sublight lounge and everything like that. And even her character looks better in person. The interaction is better in person than it was in that trailer did not do it justice.
Anything. Yeah.
And so, so you got the characters, you got the immersion, or at least the experiences. Immersion depends.
And you can choose how much you're in it.
Correct.
I just remember from the first video, it kind of showed the answers you could give the captain or whatever, and you could like basically just say, "I'm not really interested in anything. I'm good right now, thanks." And cause one of them was just like, "I don't pick sides" or something like that. Like, and so
it felt like if you're playing any sort of RPG, right, and you have your good answer, your mid answer, or the answer that's going to really upset whomever you're talking to, and you could just choose to be a complete, a-hole. If you want to play that way. And so that's fun. And it obviously opens up the door to multiple experiences being vastly different on each trip. And so it would behoove Disney to make it that way because it's not cheap and it's a lot of money. And, it's one of the biggest talking points. And so, but they also had the droid. It was like SK620. Yeah. Which
620
looks awesome.
Yeah.
And is part of the fun. And again,
I get to interact with it. You touch your band.
Use
to
your
it.
data. Yeah. Your data band. And so one of the other things too is pivoting to one of the things they showed in the first video was the gift shop, which has the legacy lightsaber, the specialty legacy lightsaber.
Yep. Saw that.
What'd you think? It's only $170.
Credits. It's 170 credits.
Credits.
Yeah. Yeah. So if I use Republic credits, I should be saving some money, right? Is that Canadian? I don't know. Anyway, no, it should be. It's frustrating that you can only find it there.
Will you get it? If you go.
Oh, if I go, I'm probably spending money on it. I mean, along with the exclusive figures that are also in that gift shop, because. It wouldn't be Disney if they didn't put exclusive things you could only get in one place, and you have to spend $6,000 to get there. Dang it, Disney. But yeah, no, I will definitely be, if I go. I shouldn't even say if. When I go, it'll happen.
Yeah.
And Whether that's with my family or with a group of 4 other guys, I don't know. But
You got to find the best way to split the cost.
yeah, it's going to be me and 4 friends. And then my wife and son are going to be in another park for those 2 days, hanging out with probably other people's spouses and or kids, while I play for 48 hours straight. And then I come back to my wife of just a tired man-child, because I didn't sleep for 48 hours while I had tickets on this cruise ship.
Right. And
the bar better never close.
well, so it's nice that you brought up the bar, because that was what I was going to talk about next. With, you've got that was one of the discussion points that I saw early before there were some leaks talking about how there was a single sabacc table in this bar, and you see it in the vlogs. Excuse me. You see it in the vlogs, and the first comment when they first walk in is, "Oh, it's a small." And they go in and they pan actually around this place, and it does look very tiny with the sabacc table spat right in the middle. Which, if it is as small as it kind of visually appears, that would be kind of disappointing, just because it's the only lounge on the ship, and I would think that you'd want, if you're a young adult, you don't have kids, and you're there to have a nice time, I have a feeling you would want to spend maybe a lot of time there.
At least a couple hours.
Yeah, and maybe not, because you'll be so involved with the other activities. Now, the one thing that'll push you away is the fact that the drinks are, they're Disney priced. And
boy, imagine getting tanked and then having to go on a mission. Oh, shoot, they're calling me 2 a.m. I better get going.
You double-fisted walking under the bridge. "Hey, Captain, I'm here for bridge training. Which button should I press?"
I'm supposed to go to the engine room right now. Really?
Sir, this is the cafeteria. Just point me. I promise I'm not resistance. Where's so that would be fun. I don't know if that's what they're trying to avoid.
Right.
Probably. I mean, probably
More
it is.
than likely.
But yeah, I mean, the holo sabacc table looks cool. Unfortunately, in a video, the holograms don't actually show up very well. But they actually have sabacc lessons where you actually learn with real sabacc. Real sabacc cards, and which is actually something that the next time I go, and I may just even order these online, I want to get a deck of sabacc cards and learn how to play sabacc.
They had it at I feel like they had it at Target for a long time.
Oh, did they really?
Yeah, when the Solo movie came out, Target probably had it. In fact, probably. I mean, they had it. I saw it. I thought about it. I didn't do it, which is surprising for me that I didn't.
You didn't buy a toy.
Do it. Yeah.
As we walked in tonight to record, and there were about 5 new toys sitting on our recording table.
You don't have to tell everybody my secrets, okay?
All the secrets.
Come on.
But yeah, so the bar looks cool. It looks small, at least from first viewing. So now I don't think you're meant to spend a whole lot of time in the bar, which is totally different than on an actual cruise ship where you spend like 90% of the time you're on the ship in a bar or in the casino, because there's nothing, or you're eating, drinking, or gambling. Those are the 3 things you do on a cruise ship at night. So I think it was designed that way. Which, if that's the case, then it's totally understandable, because you have 2 days really condensed, and so you probably don't want to be spending a ton of time in the bar. I did skip over a lot of the experiences because I didn't want to spoil those.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil that stuff either. I wouldn't want to watch other people do things that I know I'm going to do, just because it ruins it.
Yeah, and so I did, the one that I did watch was the bridge training, which was kind of the at least in the early pilots, kind of a glorified video game. Just smash the buttons and aim the target, and that's kind of what it looks like. It looks like there are different stations, though, where you pop around and you play different kind of mini games to familiarize yourself with the systems, and then there's some sort of experience that occurs during that. I'm sure it'll be different based on when you go, based on which training you attend, but there's something that plays into the overall story that will take place. And so, so if you want to watch the videos, go watch the videos and watch the experience. I'm not going to spoil it here. But that part looks cool. Or at least that portion looks cool. The thing that I found most funny, and before we start talking about foodstuffs, was the degree to which people were involved with like booing.
The active booing of the First Order.
The First Order guy, or cheering for, the resistance.
You guys know you're giving yourself away, right? You guys know that you're giving yourself away?
Right. And the two vloggers in this video, they're not the most covert. Obviously, you've got a camera, right? So that's going to draw attention to you. But actively, I think it's in the second video again, which you haven't seen yet. But there's the guy turns to the First Order stormtrooper in the bar and goes, I know where the resistance is. And they're like, and they come over and they're just like stare at him. What do you know? And then he starts talking, and then they just walk away. So I'm guessing there's some level of immersion where the cast members are probably just told, say this cookie cutter line and take off. But let's just put it this way. If they were actual spies,
they'd be caught.
They would not be doing well. So
that's funny. No, I mean, they look like they were having a good time, and they're huge fans, obviously. And that's the type of person you expect to see spend that kind of money to go on this cruise ship. I mean, you don't want anybody else on there like that. I mean, you want everyone to act like that. You want everybody to be immersive and have fun with you, and just talk to you in a way that like you're part of a show, you're part of a game, and everyone's playing, and you might be, I don't know, you might be in an alliance with somebody that you don't even know, and that's the cool part of it, I think. So, yeah, I think it's really cool. I mean, the whole thing is really cool, and I know we're going to talk about food next, which, I just remember back to my time at Galaxy's Edge and getting the food at the cantina, and I'm like, good, familiar, but very different, and it looks like they got a lot of that again on the Star-Cruiser.
Yeah, and I mean, there's one of the things that when I saw the Disney Food Blog discussions about it, because they went over pretty much every food item that you could possibly get, whether they actually tried it or not, I don't know, but there are points where I feel like because of how much money you're spending, you expect a certain quality of food and stuff like that. And so it's almost as though there's a little confusion between what it's trying to be from a culinary perspective. Do you go with the funky shaped, funky colored items just because it's Star Wars and that's kind of what people are expecting, weird sort of funky items? Or do you go with stuff that people will like to eat and kind of play it safe,
That have paid this much money to be here.
Correct.
Yeah.
And because that's the thing, when you go on an actual cruise, all the food is included, which is awesome. And you can pretty much they have specialty dinners and stuff like that you can pay extra for, but the mainline dinner room, the buffets, the side, a lot of the side, like shops, like take and goes, are generally included. Now, maybe that's changed since last time on a cruise, but it's generally pretty safe. Each night there'll be special items, but then there's always a fallback kind of safe option for someone who's maybe not as culinarily adventurous.
Yeah, or savvy. Yeah.
Right. And so looking at the food, the lunchtime stuff seems very straightforward. Like there's a play on grilled cheese and tomato soup. It looked like there was a flatbread pizza with the
chicken on it,
like
and
the
stuff like that,
chicken tikka masala, the tip chicken that you can get in Galaxy's Edge at I think it's a Docking Bay, not Docking Bay. Docking Bay 47 or whatever it is, where you can get your lunch during your excursion to Batu. But then there's some other items like nori crusted salmon, which for me sounds actually quite tasty. But for your average, who's going to be, and I think that was for lunch. So it's not one of those things where you're going to be forced to eat it the way that the family style dinner would be.
Right.
And so it looked like the sweets were on point, which not really a
How
surprise.
can you mess that up? You can't. You can't mess that up.
You know, and
You
they
put
had
some fruit there, you put some jelly in there, and then you're good to go.
Yeah,
Let's go.
And you had the fun little like what do they call, like bento rolls or
Oh, yeah.
like
I know what you're
the
talking
bento
about.
buns, and so which again had like teriyaki chicken and stuff like that. So flavors that you would expect or that you're used to in a shell or in a package that's
Unconventional.
different. And so I think that's that's a bonus. Now I did see on the second night that there's the blue shrimp that's like it's like an atomic blue color, which when I saw the picture of it, it seemed quite off-putting. Frankly, I don't know if I would eat it.
Just because of the look?
Yeah,
I haven't seen it yet, but I imagine
that was in the Disney food blog.
Yeah, I imagine it would be fine.
And
Being that I'm sure it's just food coloring on shrimp.
yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, I mean, you eat with your eyes first, right? And so if I see something that's not, I'll eat it. Don't get me, I mean, if I'm paying $5,500 to go, and this is so, from what I can gather, it looks like the dinners are included, but that I don't know if the lunches are. I think the grab and go food for breakfast is, because I was expecting all the food, just the normal food, to be included as you would on a normal cruise. And then you have the $30 extra captain's table that you can try and reserve.
Is it only 30?
It's only $30 a person, which, as far as specialty dinners go, is right on par with what you'd spend on a cruise ship for like a specialty restaurant. Like if you wanted to go to the steakhouse or the Italian restaurant or
It's an extra 30.
whatever, it's an extra 30 or 40 bucks a person. So you can get whatever you want, but it's an extra charge. So that's pretty much right in line with what you'd expect from a cruise ship.
But you'd be fighting for the captain's table with, how many guests again? Is it 400? There's 200 rooms?
There's 100 rooms.
100 rooms, 200. Well, an average of between 200 and 400 guests on each voyage.
I think on this particular one, there were 368 or 67. I think there were 368 people because they're like you and 367 other people. So they were pretty much kind of full up, which again, not a surprise.
Yeah, as expected.
And so the reservations for, I mean, you can only have 2 meals, 2 captains' dinners. So, and I believe there's only space for,
I'd imagine 8 to 10.
I think it's a few more than that. I think it's upwards of like 14 or 15 because it's like a big central table, but you're sharing it with other parties. And so, but it sounds like there's an extra 3 courses that come with that meal. So it's a 6-course dinner instead of a 3-course dinner. And so the first night you get the entertainment with Gaia, which from the vlog made it sound like it was amazing. I skipped it. I like fast forwarded through it because I don't want to have it ruined. But they said she sings something like 6 or 7 songs. So it's like a mini it's like a mini concert, you know? Yeah. And so but the food, you know, for the most part looks good. At least visually. In the reviews from the vlog, they reviewed it relatively highly. There were some that they're like I think the one girl had avocado toast, only it was kind of the faux avocado spread, and it was no bueno. So it got like 1.5 stars out of 5. So,
which, I mean, you're gonna always have that rough thing, and maybe that's just not for her. You know, that's just one of those things. Same thing for me with, like I said, the cantina. Like when I went there, like I had an expectation, obviously, and I had already known that it's not going to be exactly what I'm expecting. But even when I got there, I'm like, this is a little tougher than I thought it was going to be. For as far as like, they don't really give you much of a description at all, and you're like, I'm just going to put this mystery meat in my mouth now.
Open up, John, and put the mystery meat in. Don't ask questions.
Yeah, no questions here. And that makes it tough, especially when I have like, I mean, potentially a young kid like, or a family, like if a family's going and they have younger children that might be extremely picky eaters. So I'm sure they have some kind of fallback for some of those individuals. But yeah, it's just one of those things that as a parent now I worry about, because I'm like, oh shoot, what's my kid gonna eat if I decide to take him, because he's gonna get his money worth.
Well, it does sound like, again, from reading the Disney food blog, that there is a kids menu that adults can also order from, which is a big no-no in Disney parks, right? Adults typically can't order from
Right.
kids menus.
I can't wait to get my chicken nuggies. Let's go.
They're going to be Millennium Falcon shaped.
That's fine. I would order those every day just for a
or
snack.
I guess they'd have to be Halcyon shaped, because, I guess the Millennium Falcon, well, it exists, but it's not the go-to ship in this universe. So, or in this time period, that is. And so, because this is supposed to take place in between Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker, is when, because it's supposed to tie in with Batuu.
First Order, Batuu, and
Right.
everything else. Yeah.
And so there is a kids menu. I don't know what's on it. I didn't see it because there were no kids in the vlog, and I didn't want to spoil all of the. I mean,
Yeah. I mean,
reading a menu is not going to spoil anything.
Yeah.
But it does look like the cocktails are kind of the unsurprisingly the big winner, the big winners, as far as creativity and taste.
Yeah.
And I'm not really surprised,
Nope.
because one of my favorite things from Oga's were
The cocktails.
cocktails.
Oh, so good.
I had the fuzzy tauntaun when I was there,
Is that the one that made everything?
it makes you numb.
Yeah. So good.
and my wife had the Bespin Fizz, which had the little the little balls in it, stuff like that. So, and it looks like on the Star-Cruiser they've got
Right
cocktails,
on par.
yeah, named after, you got like there's something for Cloud City or for Bespin. There's one for Hoth. It does look like they bring a couple of the beers from Oga's,
Good.
like the Mandalorian Ale or whatever. Yeah, and a couple of the other beers that are on offer there. Those are on the ship too. I did not see the Wampa White Ale, which I know you and I both had,
Yeah.
which was quite good.
Very good. If I bring my Yub Nub cup souvenir,
the
do I
refill?
get? I want free refills. Sir, may I have another?
I brought a Yub Nub. How did you get this on board? I'm a frequent visitor to Batuu.
I need another. Another.
So it looks like when you go on excursion, that and I say on excursion, but you go to Galaxy's Edge, you get this cool little pin that gets you basically VIP access throughout the entire land.
Pretty sweet.
You get to use Lightning Lane everywhere. I think you get free concierge, which I didn't know there was concierge
I didn't know that existed either.
in Galaxy's Edge. I don't know if that's like on the ship before you leave or what that is, because again, I kind of skipped some of that part. That's in the last video of their 3-video series. but yeah, I mean, and it would be nice. I hope you get to keep the pin. I think you get to keep the
I
pin.
would imagine you
I
could
assume,
keep a
you know,
pin. I mean, they give you the pin from the from
that's
the
true.
Jedi. Shoot, what's the name?
Yeah, from Savvy's.
Savvy's. So I imagine they give you the pin.
That's a good point. But that's the thing. So like I wonder how that works for experiences in Batuu coming from the Galactic Starcruiser. Do you get first kind of like, if you book a cruise, do you get first dibs on Oga's? Do you get first dibs on Savvy's or Droid Depot to make a reservation so that when you're there, you're guaranteed that time slot because I believe it's 8 to 4 is your window that you're allowed to be there. So if you're given kind of first reservation rights within that window, if you book on the Star-Cruiser, I don't know if that is how it works or not, but I feel like it should be.
Yeah, something similar probably. I mean, why not? I mean, you're paying a lot of money to go to Disney, so.
Mm-hmm. And the last thing is, if for some reason you didn't want to go to Batuu, or you didn't want to go for as long, they do have stuff going on the ship or on the Star-Cruiser. I think there's like a droid racing thing that goes on at the time. So again, for people who would rather stay on the ship than go to Disney. Now, I don't know.
Yeah, who wants to dock? When you dock, you don't have to get off the boat, right?
Correct. But in this instance, I don't know why. I don't know what would compel someone to stay, unless they weren't feeling well, to stay on board.
I mean, they gave you a ticket to
With
go
how
to the
much
park
they're-
for
yeah,
a reason.
exactly, with how much you're paying.
There's stuff going on at the park for you. So
And that's the thing, the experiences from the ship carry over into, which was expected, because I think even on a normal visit to Galaxy's Edge, you can get on the little data pad and go explore certain things for the Resistance and stuff like that. I wonder if the characters, like the First Order characters, will react differently. Like if the characters will react differently to you seeing.
I imagine they will.
To seeing the pin.
Yeah, I imagine they will.
If they greet you differently, or if if the interactions are different, that'll be a cool. A cool change too.
And just thinking about that, you said 8 to 4. Most of the parks open up at 10.
Mm-hmm.
So you're in Batu 2 hours early. So you probably do get first dibs on basically anything you want.
Assuming that they all open that early.
Correct.
Right. But I mean, the rides would.
Right.
But yeah, that would be cool to have Galaxy's Edge effectively to yourself.
Yeah, I mean, sharing it with...
Standing in front of the Millennium Falcon with nobody around you.
Yeah, there's
whatsoever.
350 people with you, and that's it in the whole area. That's actually not nothing.
Yeah,
That's nothing
and they're not. You're not all going as one big mass, right? So
yeah,
you can obviously go at your own pace as you would in any vacation, but it would be cool, or again, to have that. I remember going into Universal an hour early when we went for our honeymoon and doing the Wizarding World free of like the throngs of people, and kind of having that enjoyment, a bit more enjoyment, because you're not just completely suffocated by guests. And so, that is obviously one of the perks of what you're paying for, is to take advantage of that. So again, I don't know what would compel someone to stay on board, but that is an option if you so choose. They do have events ongoing while everyone else is on excursion.
Yep.
So,
yeah.
So overall, on first viewing, first reading, what have you, it makes me want to go more. I think I wasn't sure based on all the.
Yeah, you were pretty hesitant before.
I was getting really nervous. When we first talked about it, when it was first announced, we were both like, I'm gonna have to sell a kidney or something to go pay for it. And then as the marketing did not do it any justice, which we've discussed before. But after seeing what it actually looks like the hallways look actually really good.
And it's also different seeing like the people react to it too, which is, it sounds so small, such a small thing, but like knowing that they're excited to be there and they're not dulled out by it, like you're like, okay, so it's pretty exciting to be there.
Yeah. And the rooms look fine. I mean, they look comfortable enough to sleep in, which is really all you should be doing in there. The video walls of looking out into space look real cool. I love that the doors don't open in or out; they slide, as you might expect on a starship. The hallway has a very, again, from the hallway that was in the video, has a very Star Wars feel. The stairs, like everything has that feel of being in a starship, how you would, I think, envision it. And it does look a little grittier, like in the corridors. It's not that super flashy white that it was in the marketing video, which I'm really glad to see that it's been
used.
Maybe they just went in and slapped a bunch of gray paint on it after that video. I don't know, but it looks much better than in the initial marketing stuff. So I mean, based on what I saw, based on what I've read, it does make me want to go more now, and the interaction, the immersion, or the experiences, I think will be the most fun for me.
So I think now would be a great time to announce the Patreon getting launched. I'm just kidding. We're not launching one.
Yes, you can fund our trip, and we'll vlog it. No.
No, that's not happening. But what an idea there. Let's no.
We'll table that one for later.
Yeah, right. But it does. I mean, it looks very exciting. I hope it holds up. I know that everyone's going to start going on it. So you're going to get more than just the Disney invited guests now. So we'll start getting some other reviews that are coming in. So in some cases they'll be good, I'm sure. And in some cases they'll be not so good for various reasons. Either the hotel wasn't up to Disney park stand. I mean, there's all kinds of different reasons something can go wrong, you know, or just one person has a bad experience on the exact same voyage. Somebody else has a fantastic time.
And God forbid, Rise of the Resistance is broken.
Oh yeah,
the
you don't
day
see
that,
yeah,
that would be. I mean, that can happen, obviously, but
yeah.
heaven forbid you paid that much money and the one ride you want to go on is.
Can't wait to see that vlog. Anyway, but yeah, I mean, things are going to happen. So I mean, we're going to get a lot of mixed reviews coming through. Obviously, before the media days, there was test runs of things, and then the media day was a big soft open, so to speak. But now you're going to grand open to the general public, and it's the general public sometimes is a lot less worried about any feelings you may have.
Oh yeah. Well, and there's another YouTube page or channel that I watch, Walton's WDW News Today.
Oh yeah.
Who I guess was once in the media corps and then has been effectively shoved away. Yeah. So they're on the trip tomorrow. They're paying their whole way. So I'm very excited to see what their review is because they don't hold back on.
Oh no,
that sort of stuff.
Hard criticism there. Yeah. Hard.
But
hard.
I think they also they will credit it if
it's good.
If it's good too. So.
Yeah, and you're gonna have that, right? You're gonna have that. But you're also gonna have the straight. I mean, you can go find some Disney haters real quick. It's pretty easy to find.
It's
really.
not hard. And a lot of Star Wars haters too.
Oh no, those don't exist.
We have the best fan base, and I will fight you if you say otherwise.
They'll fight you for saying a lot of other things too. Anyway, but yeah, no, exciting stuff. I can't wait to go. I mean, eventually it'll happen. I'm not gonna even throw out an estimated date because that's a big conversation. Because instead of going to somewhere like, I don't know, Europe, I'm going to spend 2 days on a Star Wars themed hotel spaceship.
Yeah.
So I got to convince the wife that that's a good idea for me.
Yeah. I mean, that's the one thing for me, the price after seeing what there is, I don't know that I see the full value there. Again, maybe that'll change. Hopefully the price will come down a little bit. I did look ahead to the months kind of in the summer to see what the bookings look like, and either they haven't opened them or ain't nobody rushing to fill those slots. So
it's expensive.
It's a lot.
Like
of
you
money.
gotta. I mean, you gotta be willing to shell out $5,500 for a room
for 2 days.
And I mean,
like
granted,
that's an entire Disney vacation.
And like I said earlier in the pod, like if I get 4 other friends that are willing to shell out $1,100 each, you know, like okay, that's more manageable because that's me paying $500 a day for an experience, which I can at least sell to myself.
You can justify that.
But if I'm just going with my wife, and it would be like probably at that point it would be like a 2 or 3 year old by the time I would honestly save up enough money to take those 2 individuals. Not that I don't love my family, but if I'm taking them, it's $5,500 for a 2 or 3 year old that won't get the experience that I really want him to get, and I probably won't get the experience I want to get because I'll be taking care of my kid. So it's kind of like the price is a huge deterrent for anybody with small children unless they're loaded, which I'm not. So,
which I feel like that's what Disney's gearing themselves towards more and more with recent ticket hikes.
Yeah.
All the price increase and all that fun stuff, but we won't dive in there. We're trying to keep this relatively positive.
Yeah, because I'm excited. I'd be so stoked to go, but I can't pay the price for my, like if it was just my family going for one room, nope. I couldn't fork over that money right now, and justify it.
Correct.
But like I said, like if I had 4 of my like good buddies that are as into Star Wars as we are, it'd be a no-brainer. I'd be like, I will sell off whatever I need to sell to pay for this, and I would sell that to my. That would be how I pay for my excursion away from the family, because I'm not. There's no way I'm going to Disney without my wife and kid, but I would at least be able to say, I literally am funding this through my collection for 2 days of me just to go do this. And I'm sorry I'm not paying the extra $4,000 for you.
Well, not to mention all the flights, and stuff too.
Oh yeah,
that
everything else
aren't
is
included,
expensive.
right?
And yeah, we're still gonna pay for them to go to the parks those days, but they just won't be with me. Oh God.
Fantastic.
Yep.
What
She doesn't listen to Star Wars podcasts.
if she's into it this far, well, hey,
Good
that's,
for her.
That's another
you,
listen.
You've deserved to listen. You deserve to hear it.
So yeah, hopefully the first, over the next, I don't know, 4 to 6 weeks, we start to see more feedback, hopefully in line with what came out of the media day. And, well, if not, I'm sure we'll hear about that too. So, I don't really have much else to discuss.
Yeah, nothing else on it today. If you have time and you're interested in any other fandom, make sure you check out Galactic Dads, our sister pod over there. They do a great job talking about Marvel, some Star Wars. They'll throw it in there.
And tomorrow they're going to talk about Batman.
And tomorrow we got the pre-release of Batman on Tuesday the 1st. So that's going to be awesome.
Yeah,
so
you guys have fun with that.
Yeah, very excited to do that, and then hopefully we can put together some kind of non-spoiler review before the. We're gonna do it, but it's gonna be tough because I'm sure we're gonna walk out of that movie excited. But if you're into DC, Marvel, comics, games, whatever else you're into, as far as your nerdisms,
Your non-Star Wars fandoms, basically.
yeah, check them out on anywhere you can find your podcast.
At Galactic Dads on all the socials and all the podcast platforms. So, with that, as we bring an end to this episode, we want to thank you all for listening. We ask that if you do enjoy the content, that you share this episode and others through the various social media channels that you participate in. And with that, until next time, for Jedi-John, I'm Obi-Sean.
May the Force be with you.